The seasons move in whispers here, never a sudden change, but a gradual shift that speaks to those who listen. Spring, once a cool sigh, now swells into the promise of summer. October's last fire smouldered and cooled, the flames fading into the chill of the past. I remember that night, 5 degrees biting at our skin as we huddled together near the warmth of the fire, the air crisp enough to cut. But now the whispers turn to warnings. The heat comes swiftly, as if racing to lay its claim, and we brace for the days ahead, marked by the relentless sun. I had to leave Chimney Creek recently, drawn to Brisbane for specialist tests. The city, so different from the quiet we've cultivated, feels both familiar and foreign. Along the way, I dropped my mum off at her home and I made a stop that brought both warmth and reflection, my father's house. Mon, my father's Thai wife, and my stepsister Fern greeted me with open arms full of love and an array of Thai dishes. A Thai banquet, rich with spice and history, filled the air as we caught up, voices mingling like the sweet and sour on the tongue. I watched as Fern worked, each movement deliberate, seasoned with the confidence of years, perfecting recipes passed down through generations. This symphony of flavours demanded pause and appreciation. Thai culture isn't just in the food, it's in the way we gathered, sharing dishes in the centre of the table, each person reaching with chopsticks or a spoon, the meal a communal experience. Chimney Creek called and soon I was back, hands deep in the soil and my heart beating with the pulse of this land. The chickens wander freely through our main garden, clucking and pecking as they scratch at the newly laid mulch. Their eager little feet scatter it, hunting for bugs, oblivious to the work it took to spread it there. It's a dance of patience and resilience watching them, knowing that they too have their place in this life we've chosen. Paul's mind turns with ideas as endless as the horizon. This time it's the outhouse. The thought of putting windows in to draw in light.
This wall slightly out of square because of the posts. What I was going to do is put a bit of glass up there and put wood around it so that it sits in place, and then on the inside I can put the merbau and seal it all up. So then that would be the one window, the full window. And then I can sit another one in front of it, like a frame, so that it actually then allows airflow through.
In the garden, life stirs with urgency. Our seedlings, each a tiny testament to our care, are ready to stretch their roots. There are melons, pumpkins and loofah that was given to us by our permaculture teacher Lana, and we've got spaghetti squash planted from seeds entrusted by Kathy from Little Garden Big Dreams. The spaghetti squash is the only one that's come up, but it stands strong and eager.
Potting mix and garden soil.
Paul and I roll up our sleeves and prepare the mounds, working the soil in our wheelbarrow. We've also prepared some worm tea and we've added a bit of seaweed for strength and some Nutritech Bam for vitality. The rhythm of our work is a dance we've come to know well, muscles straining under the brightening sky. The work never truly ceases here. It evolves like the land itself. I press forward, cutting down the prickly weeds, mindful of Lana's teachings. Respect the earth, she'd say. Don't rip, don't tear, let it stay whole. and so with the blade in hand I trim with care, allowing the roots to hold their stories beneath the soil. Paul's hands are busy as well, whippersnipper in the hand as he cuts back the grass around the old chimneys that stand like memories from another time. We dream aloud together, an outdoor kitchen, a place to gather to share laughter and stories under the stars. So many projects and so little money.
This morning has so clear a light as any to see the horizon and the far. Excuses were 2 for a penny, but they've all gone out the window.
Paul and I stood side by side, sleeves rolled and sweat dripping, and we used what we had on hand to create the mounds to transplant our seedlings into. A bit of leftover potting mix from an old project, garden soil, and the rich dark crumble of mushroom compost. Each element brought its own promise: nutrients for strength, texture for breathing space, and organic richness that would nurture the roots as they reached out into the unknown. The mix was dark and fragrant, like the earth's own cake batter. As we leaned in, our hands moving rhythmically, blending it with a shovel until it felt just right between our fingers, not too heavy, not too light. With the garden soil and potting mix all mixed up, we mixed in some chicken manure from their pen, flecked with straw. It isn't as much as I'd hoped for. We won't have enough mounds, but we'll just do the biggest seedlings first. We'll just have to do the rest of the seedlings another day. As the mounds took shape, raised and ready, we smoothed the surface and prepared for the seedlings to take their place.
It's a good day today and not tomorrow. There's no time to borrow.
The melons have grown the biggest, and I did read somewhere that melons don't like being near pumpkins, so I'll just put the melons out on their own first. With the mounds built, I pressed the seedlings into their places, their leaves trembling as if sensing the heat to come. Mulch, a protective blanket of lucerne, is laid down, and we water each mound with the nurturing mix of worm tea, seaweed and Nutritech Bam. The sun, now higher, looks on approvingly.
Afraid of the dark. 'Cause once you let the light in, you won't see the beautiful stars shining down from afar.
There was something hopeful in the creation of these little hills, knowing that beneath them lay the promise of growth, and each mound was a stage set for the life it would hold.
Breathe again when dealing with the pain. No, I don't mind the rain. Ooh, that's the way it goes. Life will teach you what you need to know. And ooh, like a river flows, life will take you where you need to go. Getting old don't bother me, 'cause with eyes that's been through life, it's so much easier.
Nighttime brings new challenges. The kangaroos out here, graceful and bold, hop into our yard, their soft eyes searching for a feast among our efforts. So we've set solar sensor lights at the edges of our garden, beacons that flare to life with any rustle or any movement. So far, they've done the trick, casting their glow to keep the wild at bay. I hope they deter the possums as well, those nimble thieves of the night.
Life will teach you what you need to know.
In the big garden bed, the loosened mulch awaits its purpose, soon to cradle the capsicum, chilli and white radish seedlings. The soil is readying itself for a new chapter, one filled with green manure and the hopes of a season's bounty. Now we're just adding some extra sugarcane mulch to make sure the mulch is about 1 to 2 inches thick. The mulch is more than just a covering, it's a blanket that will protect and nourish and keep in the moisture and keep the sun's heat at bay for our plants. So I plan to just scatter all these seeds that I've got here mixed together. I've got a huge variety of types of seeds. I've got amaranth and I've got coriander. We've got the green manure mix, that's nearly 20 different types of seeds. We've got some Italian parsley. And we've also got some calendula seeds that Lana gave to us, and also she gave us some daikon radish seeds as well. Lana's gift of garlic scapes finds its place in tonight's meal, chopped and stuffed into a duck, joined by slices of lemon to bring out its richness. And as the duck roasts, the scent wafts through the air, mingling with the hum of evening crickets and the soft patter of rain, a rare blessing that the land drinks eagerly. And finally, some beautiful fresh veggies to go with the duck. Amidst these tasks, our thoughts drift to Willow. 9 years have passed since she left this earth, yet her presence is as real as the wind that rushes through the trees. On her birthday, a few kind souls reached out, their words and gentle reminders that she is remembered, that her light still shines. Paul's mum and stepdad, ever thoughtful, send money for flowers and raspberries, symbols of life, of sweetness. Paul heads out to choose the blooms carefully, knowing which flowers I had pointed out a couple of weeks earlier, and we call them Willow's flowers, and we'll plant them in a corner of the garden where the sun lingers longest and where memories can rest. And with the rain that followed, the mounds, now dark and damp, took on new life. The earth drank deeply, pulling the rain through its veins. And the seedlings, snug in their freshly prepared homes, stood a little taller, ready to face the sun. They say in homesteading that half of the time is spent doing things and the other half is spent looking at all the things you've done. And so with our mower broken and completely out of action, our neighbour came to the rescue and lent us theirs for a while. We thought it would be a good idea to do a quick whip around the mounds that we've created for the melons, so that when they start growing, when their vines start spreading, that we'll be able to still access everything. I've got some coriander popping up here, even though it's not even the right season for them. We've got our willow heart in our garden out here. That was a gift to us from Michelle from New Zealand. And we've got fresh Italian parsley popping up again. And so we carry on, tending, dreaming, planting and remembering. Each day at Chimney Creek Farm is a mosaic of labour and love. A story written in sun and soil, in rain and in remembrance. Thanks for joining us.